Wizards of the Coast has a ban announcement coming on Monday. They made sure to let players know. But before we go worrying about what's getting banned and what's not, it's really a moment to take a pause and understand where Wizards of the Coast may go with bannings, because with Modern Horizons 3 as an upcoming product, they're not likely to ban cards that are going to make them money. So which cards are likely going to get a reprint? Which cards do we have to worry about? This is what we're going to talk about in today's video. To all the fans of Magic the Gathering, welcome back here and thanks for hanging out with me, MTG Moxman, today as we talk about something near and dear to my heart, which is MTG Finance and understanding what Wizards of the Coast is going to do. Because the one thing you can always count on is they are going to do what's best for Wizards of the Coast. This is a very interesting kind of double feature here. You got the announcement that they're doing a banning. But we have some really big upcoming products, and that's going to be Modern Horizons 3, a set that is likely going to feature quite a few good value reprint cards, but not only that, probably some special guest cards that players are going to want to get their hands on. And when you start putting the combination of this information together and look back at how they've handled products in the past and what they've been doing in 2023, 2024, you can start getting a kind of good blueprint together of what this company is going to do. And just a reminder here before we really delve into the video, that if you enjoy the Moxman, if you like this content, all you've got to do is hit that subscribe button, turn on your notification bell, and I'll be coming at you 7 days a week. I'm never going to stop. It's never going to end because this game is too fantastic to ever quit on. It's amazing. So where are we at? Well, with a banning announcement, I always like to take a look at cards I think are likely to get banned, or why they might get banned. But I don't know if you guys really knew this in the last couple of years, but Wizards of the Coast is not likely to ban cards that are making them money, at least not currently. So if you're thinking you're going to see a Sheoldred on the ban list, it may not be a bad target, but it's not that big of a problem. But not only is it not a big problem, it's an expensive card that they can reprint later. So they're not likely to do anything with that in Standard. But is it going to get a reprint in Modern Horizons 3? Well, we've already seen kind of a semi-reprint done already, but it was very hard to get. So a card that's holding those kind of values, like there's a lot to really break apart here as we go. So I want to show you some of these cards as we carry on the discussion today, because there's one thing I know. There's a lot of cards in the sets right now that are worth quite a bit of money. We know there are tens of thousands of Magic cards out there. They're really only worth 20, 30 cents. They are never going to hold value. But the recent sets over the last couple of years, you've started seeing these cards hold value a little bit longer, at least until they get a massive full-blown reprint. When a reprint hits on a level that it's very common to get, it either signals to me they're going to do some kind of power creep and step things up, or they just want to devalue that card to the point where it's just more of a card everyone can play with, a game piece, as it were. And that is something we have seen in the past. But the cards I'm going to share with you today, we're going to go through these, but I want you guys to tell me if you think they're really going to get a reprint, and I'll be talking in the background here. So let me show you the first card I want to talk about, and of course, the Orcish Bowmaster. For people who think this is going to get banned, let's face it, guys, this is making them a lot of money. This is a card that is bringing in cash, but they also are aware that Lord of the Rings is really not being opened right now. Lord of the Rings isn't an everyday box that players are searching nowadays because it costs a lot of money to get these boxes. They are a premium product from the universes beyond. And of course, stores still have these sitting on shelves. They're still at distribution level, and we know they're not moving. So this card, although I think it definitely needs a reprint for sure because of the value point of where this card could go in the future, the idea that it could get a reprint in something like Modern Horizons 3 doesn't seem likely to me, other than maybe a special guest, a special feature card, some hard to get kind of card they put in there to kind of say, hey, look, this thing has value. We have a lot of value packed into this box, and that's why we're charging you as much as we are. But I personally do not believe that one's going to show up. Now, our next card, Jeweled Lotus. Now, the funny thing about this, of course, it just got a reprint. We know that. Commander Masters, right, everybody? But we also know that that was just a dumpster fire of a set that was overpriced, and they're probably trying to find a way to put this in. They're trying to find a way to fit this into future sets because they know Commander players want to get their hands on it, and they probably want to keep it around the $80 level, at least for the foreseeable future. So what are they likely to do? This is another card that, yes, it needs a reprint, but does this fit into the modern format as some special guest? Of course not. It doesn't really fit in with this type of set. So yes, it needs a reprint, but no, it's probably not going to get banned, obviously, because it makes Wizards too much money, and it's not going to show up in a set like Modern Horizons 3. Now, the good old Sheoldred, the one we were just talking about, this card can be killed in so many ways now. Like, creature cards to me do not pose the threat they used to pose. If you have multiple ways of getting rid of creatures, only people who don't have removal have trouble dealing with this in gameplay. Or, of course, late game, where you've kind of, drawn out your hand and you're kind of top drawing or got one or two cards. Then it can be a problem, of course. But when I look at this card as a value product, Wizards likes this. This is a card that has a lot of value in future products, but I wouldn't put it past them banning it in Standard. I wouldn't put that past them just because it's not going to make a big pro or con to any deck that's out there right now for me that I would play or that I've seen played against. And of course, it isn't something I think they're going to ban, though. I mean, they could, but I'm just saying I don't think it's a big enough threat level for them to worry about banning this card right now. So I think they'll just let it play out, and then it'll only show up as special feature things because, of course, they want to move this thing into Commander, right? So they'll keep it as a value target. They're not going to reprint it for the next little while, although it needs a reprint to bring this thing down to like the $40, $50 level. I don't see that happening anytime soon, although we know it should be happening, and I wouldn't expect it in Modern Horizons 3. Now, for our next one, Mindbreak Trap. This is from Zendikar, guys. I remember this card. I didn't think much of it back in the day when I was opening Zendikar, but of course we know now the uses that this thing can have. But at around $80 US, this thing needs a reprint. And honestly, Modern Horizons 3 is a good place to put this card. This one, I would actually say, has a good chance of showing up. The price is at the right level to get value in the product and to say, hey, we don't really care if this gets reprinted. With the equity we can get, it kind of gives us a stopping value point to show off to our consumers that we care about them. You got to remember how Wizards is going to deal with this from the economic point of view as well as the value point for the company. So this one I actually think could show up. I'm surprised I'm saying that, but yeah, this one could go there. Now, our next one, and not just the Ancient Copper Dragon, but all the ancient dragons that we saw from Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate, they've all held a considerable value. And Commander Legends Baldur's Gate, as well as the original Commander Legends, all these boxes are starting to uptick. Dragons are still very popular. Now, of course, as a modern card, I don't expect to see this in every game or anything. It's more of a Commander card. But it would make sense for this card to get reprinted sooner rather than later. I don't think it'll make much of a big difference if they put it as some kind of box topper card of some style in Modern Horizons 3 as one of the special guests. But since it's a modern product, I don't think it should be there. But they are doing Commander decks as well, so who really knows what they're going to put in as all these specialty cards to kind of add the value point. Like, people were asking me, do I think Mana Crypt? And I didn't put Mana Crypt on this list, okay? I'll be honest, guys. It's not on the list today, and yes, it needs a reprint, but I think they're just going to hold off. I think they're just going to drag that one out for like another year to see if they can put together some kind of new Ultimate Party Masters 3rd edition. I don't know. Something to get value. But for this one, the Ancient Dragons, they're going to come around, just not anytime soon. Probably in the next year or two. Dockside Extortionist. Okay, the Dockside needs a reprint. It's still way too high. Yes, I know Double Masters 2022 had the product, but they got to bring this thing down, man. It's got to be that $40 level. Would it be added? It really could be. This thing has enough value to make sense as a reprint card they could add in to guarantee some value along with the fetch lands. So I wouldn't put it past them if this card shows up. All right, Painter's Servant. This one, again, is a card people don't think much about anymore, but this thing with Grindstone is just disgusting when it used to come into play. I haven't seen it for a while. It's had one reprint, I believe. But again, as a Shadowmoor card that has a high value point to it still, this one's showing up as an artifact inside of a modern set. I could see it happening. It definitely needs a reprint just to bring it down to like $20, but it really could have some kind of at least impact in the price point for people who still desire the card and want to get their hands on it. I think the other time was what? Kaladesh? Was it Kaladesh that had this one as one of the special cards? I think so. I think it was Kaladesh. Now, for our next one here, the Great Henge. Again, we know Throne of Eldraine, this thing was very popular. We know it's come around as a reprint already. it needs to go again. It can't just be the party tree from Lord of the Rings. The price pretty much rebounded pretty quickly after its release date because it was a hard card to get. It wasn't very easy. And don't forget, Wizards of the Coast is doing this on purpose. Don't put that past them. They do want these cards to reappear, but they don't want to cause any more power creep. So they want to keep these things at a certain equilibrium of value, and they're going to keep milking it for as long as they can, or until they think players are kind of bored with the card. Okay, Sliver Hive, again, guys. This one should have shown up in the Commander Masters Commander deck. I don't know why it didn't show up, but it didn't. So that's fine. It's only $20. I know it's not a super expensive card, but it should be reprinted. We should get this thing down to a $5 to $7 card so players can just get their hands on it, get into their decks, and enjoy adding this to their Sliver Commander decks, Sliver Standard decks that they used to play at the kitchen table. I still have mine. I don't have to worry about it. I bought it way back when this thing came out in 2015. I remember them being like $5 to $7. I never was concerned, but for other players out there who didn't get that opportunity because maybe they've joined the game 5 years later, this thing needs a reprint. I think they need to just get on that and get it over with. And the last one I want to share with you guys is going to be the Eye of Ugin from World Wake. Now, this thing's had reprints, I get it, but look at the spike, look how it's gone up. And of course, with Eldrazi coming back, it's going to be a big thing. But here's the thing, I think this is going to show up in Modern Horizons 3. This card is going to be there. We know they're bringing back Eldrazi. This is either going to be in a commander deck or it's going to actually be a reprint inside the set. So that's a card that, yes, needs a reprint, but I also think is going to show up. So I don't think any player has any reason to be concerned about that particular card. If you own it, you probably want to sell it, but at the same time, what do I know? It could be totally wrong and you sold it for nothing. I just believe it's going to be because of the value point, the images they've shown us, and the past history of how they deal with their cards. It's kind of a double whammy because Wizards wants to make money, but they know they're losing reprint equity. They can't be too skimpy because they know how some of their products have been the last couple of years, especially Commander Masters, and I'm sure they beefed things up a little bit. They give us a lot of new cards in the Modern Series cards. When they give us the new Modern Horizons, there's always a few new cards in there that I always look forward to. I can't wait to see. But when it comes to reprint cards and reprint equity, they're masters at doing this. They kind of know where they want things to go. And although I don't always agree with their choices, I can see why some of these cards need a reprint no matter what. But which products they decide to design and build them into is another, argument all to itself. There are sets they will fit better into, but I wouldn't put it beyond Wizards of the Coast to stuff any of this stuff in if they think they need to move the product at a certain price point, especially being an expensive product in a tight market. They may really load this up, which is what I told you guys about 5 months ago in that video about the reprints they'll put in. As we get closer and as you see the values of some of these cards creeping up $1, $2, $3 a month, that's 30-40% over a year. And that can't keep happening. Wizards has got to keep some kind of equilibrium. Yes, cards have to have value, but they can't be so expensive that players can't get their hands on them at all. And for the speculators out there who are thinking of selling, you got to pay attention to this market because some of these cards are going to be cards you want to sell. Now, if you think I missed any amazing cards, if you think I missed some of the action today that you think would be reprinted or that you think might get banned, I would love to see those comments in the comment section. Join the conversation here on the channel because Magic is an ever-changing game. It's a great game to play, and it's always best played with friends and just having a good time. Thanks again for hanging out with me today on the channel. Remember to shop smart, shop S-Smart, and always bring a friend to Magic. I almost forgot. I had to pop back on because I forgot to remind you guys that if you're shopping for any of these amazing cards or future cards, don't forget to use my affiliate link if you're shopping on TCG Player. You'll find the link inside the description of this video, and if you click on that link, it'll take you to TCG Player, and any sales you make there, anything you buy there, we get a portion here kicked back to the channel of 3.5%. It helps me get prizes and stuff for the channel. I appreciate everyone who takes the moment to do so. Thanks again, guys. Shop smart, shop S-Smart. And now I'm going to leave for real this time. Maybe. Big shout out and thank you to the fantastic patrons we have supporting the channel each and every day. You see all these Patreon names going by? Those are the supporters of this channel who help with the daily created content that everyone gets to enjoy. So thanks again to my YouTube membership members and of course the loyal patrons of this channel. Have a great day, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow with another video. Welcome back to the Ramble Jamble. You made it to the end. You are one of those types of players who just says, I wonder what happens at the end of a video. What happens at the end of the post credits? I'm going to sit this one out. I'm going to wait here until I find out what happens. And now you know. I drink coffee and talk about Magic even when nobody's looking. That's right, nobody's ever here. There's like 5 people who watch this part and they're like, where are those people? We're here, man. All right, guys, so what's going on? I'll be honest. The whole reprint thing, it's a very big thing for me because I took time on Thursday looking at around 40 different Magic sets. Everything from Shadowmoor to Bloomborough. I went through and took a look at Kaldheim, shot over to March the Machines, went over to Scourge, Fallen Empires, Homelands. You look through those sets. Look at the cards in the sets. Take a good look. Because of the amount of reprinting Wizards of the Coast has done, most value is tied to the most recent sets. Old sets have been so drained of equity, there's almost nothing of value left. Cards are like $5-10. The odd card's $15-20, okay? So the era of reprinting that they followed through on, devastated. They're sealed post-market. So the IP damage done, the power creep, all those things have left these cards in the dust over time, right? Better cards came along, or they've been reprinted so much they've just lost so much value. So you go along, and you saw boxes that used to be worth so much money, and they're still worth money sealed. If you wanted to play these and have that nostalgic moment, absolutely. But the possibility of saying, the reason I'm going back to buy Mirrodin is because the Mox Opal's in there. It's never gotten a reprint. It's like a $190 card. That's not the case, though. They've reprinted that a couple times, and it brings the value down. It makes that box not as wanted. Okay, it's one of those things I've been following and tracking, and I was surprised to see how much value has been lost. I may follow up in a video on it, but I wanted to let you guys know here in the after credits that when I was looking at all these cards that possibly might need a reprint or kind of, sussing things out, I was surprised to see how much value is tied into the last couple of years. It's very fascinating. Anyway, thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for being here. Have an awesome one. I'm going to go finish my coffee. I got some barbecue meatballs for the boy being made, and the wife and me are having some vegetable soup. Why not? Have a great one, guys. Vegetable soup. No, it's good. I'm just kidding.